How do you run Google Ads for a gym? I actually just got finished talking to a client about this today, and I thought this is going to make a great video. I've had a lot of experience in this space. I had a buddy who launched an agency just for gyms, and we tried to run traffic for him and failed miserably, actually. But that had more to do with the way that his model was structured. He was taking very finite amounts of money from gym owners for spend and then trying to make Google Ads work on a shoestring budget. So what I wanted to do is offer up some of the recommendations that I have based off of learning experiences, some of them successful, some of them not. And interestingly, you always learn more from the failures. So gym owners, this is for the small privately owned gyms. If you're a kind of a box gym, if you've got a couple of locations or more, then I think that my recommendations would probably change. So single location, CrossFit, studio-esque, even if you're bigger, it's the single location that I really want to focus on because that's the crux of the issue. Here's the disadvantage that you are at. And yes, the video is starting off on a negative tone, forgive me. But if you called me today and say, hey, Qasim, run my Google Ads, this is how we would have this conversation. So the disadvantage that you're at is you're a location in an area that has a finite amount of people. And what you are going to find is your ability to be successful in running inbound traffic is going to be heavily dependent upon how much dumb money is being injected in your geography in any given day. And the problem with gyms is you're in the same space as like financial planners or residential realtors where, it's a low barrier to entry. So it's pretty easy for somebody to become, a personal trainer, for instance. It doesn't take any equipment. It just takes access to Craigslist, really. And what ends up happening is those people start running ads themselves, but they don't know what they're doing. And the fact that they don't know what they're doing causes a pretty significant problem because they start spending money and raising the cost per click for everybody. That's the dumb money conundrum. It happens in a ton of industries. The problem with gyms, though, is you have a difficult time pivoting outside of the market that's being saturated. So, if you're software as a service and somebody's oversaturating a certain, keyword profile or feature set, then we would just pivot over to a different feature set. Well, because the gym is where it is, you can't pivot over to a new geography. So a lot of this is just proving that your geographic region is not saturated. Now, if you already know for a fact that your geo's 100% saturated, there's, 2 gyms on every single corner and a bunch of private personal trainers and, people that are just hemorrhaging money trying to get new clients, don't run ads. Don't run inbound traffic, That's going to be really expensive. Where you want to go, and I hate to say it, but you want to go to Facebook. Facebook is a really good place for you to push a message in front of an interested party with a very distinct and specific value proposition. And you can actually be really successful with that outbound mode, especially if you have a very compelling offer. Challenges work great. Boot camps work great. Lose 7 pounds in 7 days, that type of thing. It doesn't have to be that cadence. I don't even know if that's healthy, but you know what I'm saying? Like, give people a really specific output for a really specific input, and then make it really compelling. 7 pounds in 7 days for $7, I am there. And you think like, well, I don't want to do that for $7. And what I'm here to tell you is inbound traffic is going to be way more expensive than that. So if you're hyper saturated, then I would go outbound and I'd use Facebook and Instagram. It's really easy to attract attention on Facebook and Instagram, especially with the type of imagery and media you can use for gyms. People like looking at attractive people working out. So you're going to be able to stop them in their tracks. And then as long as you have a value proposition that's compelling, and that's the really big key here, then you're going to be in good shape. Your value proposition has to be compelling. Can't just be like, we're a gym, we're close, come to me. So if you're in a saturated space, then I wouldn't run inbound traffic. Now, let's say that you don't know if you're in a saturated space. Then you need to spend 90 days testing, and you need to spend $1,000 to $2,000 at a minimum. At a minimum, I hope you heard me. I said at a minimum, in order to prove concept adequately. If you don't spend that much, it's not that it failed; it's that you didn't spend enough to see what's possible. You have probably a more expensive cost per click, and you're in a space where you need enough data in order to determine the viability of a market. And if you really think about it, let's say that you spent $1,000 and you got 5 new clients. What's really interesting about that is each one of those clients is worth way more than $1,000 to you. If you're the type of gym that I'm thinking of, where you're offering personal training, nutrition programming, you have a strong retention. If you get somebody to stick around for a year and you're charging $150 a month, and the benefit we all know is not everybody's showing up. So a lot of that money is just found because the hard costs are pretty nominal, although that leads to dilution later. I think that you could be in a profitable position given the Ascension model that's available and accessible to you. So, $200 cost per client acquisition is pretty darn good. But you're going to have to figure out what that cost per acquisition is, and you're not going to know until you spend. And the same thing I was telling you with the inbound traffic or with the outbound traffic, you have to have really compelling, you have to have a really compelling value proposition. People don't want to work out. People hate exercise. Even the people that say they love exercise actually hate it. This is a ubiquitous truth. 101% of all people hate exercise. The people that tell you they love it and they crave it and they can't get enough of it, straight up Stockholm Syndrome. They're all nuts. And if we had them evaluated, there would be a pill for them. I'm just kidding. I actually really enjoy exercising. But you know what I'm saying? Like culturally and our personality is rooted in such a way that it's hard. It's hard to do these things, and I don't want to. And if you make it easy for me to make it hard, then I'm going to take you up on that. So you have to make it easy to make it easy. And your value proposition has to be compelling, and it needs to be really straightforward. It needs to be something that just zero barriers, because there's so many other psychological barriers to taking you up on your service offering. So make sure that you're putting something in front of them that is not. You're not in a position to pre-qualify prospects in your industry. I'm sorry to say that. Some people are. Some people actually need to. I need to. I can't just hop on the phone with everybody. It would take my whole damn day because everybody wants to talk to me about, advice on Google Ads. I need to know that you got money. And so we pre-qualify based on ad spend, or, even if you have the ad spend, I need to know you're in an industry that can potentially be viable. Gyms are the opposite. You need to reach with both hands and get everybody in the gym. They need to see you, work with you, and they need to build that neural association. Man, every time I walk through these doors, I feel better. Walk through the doors, feel better. Walk through the doors, feel better. You know what? I should give you money. So realize that your profitability and your monetization is on the latter half of the engagement. Now, if you're somehow thoroughly ingrained and you've got a phenomenal brand and people referring off to you and amazing case studies, don't listen to me. You don't really need this marketing then. Word of mouth is the best marketing for a gym. But if you're actually dying for customers, you can't be desperate for customers and petulant about the way that you get them at the same time. So run those boot camps that you hate doing. Offer those early entry offers that just are no fun and not profitable, because that's the way that you get somebody into the gym. And then treat every single customer like absolute freaking gold. They need to love coming to you. Also realize that you can't expand from a geographic region further than people willing to travel. And you know how far people are willing to travel because you can just ask the people that are currently coming to your gym. Depending on your commute patterns and, the sprawl of your city and how specialized your offerings are, people aren't going to spend more than, 10, 15 minutes driving to a gym. Why would they? Because there's a gym within 3 miles of every single human on the planet right now. And they're going to be able to get to that. So stay close, stay tight knit with your geographic region. Now, if you offer something other people don't offer, if you have a type of facility, rehabilitation, training, then you can start to get a little bit more expansive. But make sure that it's working and split those offerings up by ad group. Don't bundle them all into the same thing, because they're not. You want to make sure that you're speaking to people according to very unique value propositions. And because every gym is different, make sure that you have that outlined in your ad copy. Gym ad copy is the worst. It all sounds the same. It's like, get fit today. It's just the guy who writes the Mack truck commercials just writes everybody's ad copy. Let them know why you. How many years have you been as a personal trainer? What awards have you won? What certifications do you have? What letters are behind your name? What experience? What social proof? Where have you been featured? What are they going? How is their life going to change? What proven and proprietary method do you have different than all the other 15 times I've signed up for a gym and I haven't lost any weight or gained any muscle or all those things? You need to sell. You need to articulate the value shift that's going to happen in this person's life. And if you can do that, then I think you can be really successful. But remember, it's saturated. And here's what sucks is you can run advertising, prove concept in the 90 days, really scale this thing up, and then one day wake up and it's spiraled out of control because a couple of personal trainers have hit the Googles and they're now just bidding on every single applicable keyword. And it's really easy to swallow up inbound traffic in this particular industry because it is so niche and so localized. So just be careful. I'm not trying to talk you out of it. I'm not trying to discourage you, but I want you to have the truth of the situation as opposed to every other PPC guy who's like, oh, we can make it work. Definitely come sign up with me so I can get paid for a couple of months until you get pissed off and leave. Because that's not the way to work anything. So I do think that there's viability there. I think the more niche you can get, the better. And the more you can offer from a value proposition, the better. If you're, a gym is a gym is a gym, all right, that's, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you've got a cold water immersion therapy or whatever, I just made that up because I go to a place like that. But you know what I'm saying? Like if you're a fitness studio and you also have this other thing that brings, I don't know why my focus got all weird, that brings an added layer of value that other places don't have, I mean, that's the unique selling proposition. That's the name of the game in business, right? So just highlight those and make them readily apparent. I had the same buddy I'm talking about. I'm at a CrossFit gym. His name's Tim. Really, really kind guy. Good dude. His gym was so much better than everybody else's gym I'd ever been to. And his trainers were all like truly trained, like had actually real education. They didn't just go to like a 4-day boot camp and there was some, shredded meathead that dropped out of school and just didn't know what else to do. Like they were real personal trainers, nutritionists, physical therapists. And Tim did a bad job in the beginning of letting people know that. You go to his website and it was just the same, like, rugged, whatever, looked like a, Tough Mudder competition. And it was like, dude, time to tell people why you're awesome. And if you don't highlight that, they're not going to seek it out. They're not even necessarily going to know that it's important, especially for your newbies that have never been before. They might not know that, like, not all personal trainers are created equal. Not all certifications are created equul. You have to have a nutrition plan going into this, those types of things. So just make sure to outline your value proposition. And I hope this is helpful. I'm trying to think about what else. Oh, your website can't suck. Don't let your website suck. Gym owner who goes on Wix and pulls down the very first gym template and then just uploads it. And highlight your trainers. I want to know who I'm working with. I want to know that this person isn't going to scare me or intimidate me. I want to be comfortable with them. I want to know that they're empaths. Videos of your trainers are going to be they're going to be what converts. If you have a trainer specifically that connects with me and that lets me know, like, hey, I'm not, because nothing would be worth to run into a gym and somebody be like, sit down, fatty. Like now instantly it's just like that's what we all think is going to happen, right? We're all so afraid to walk into those places because it's just so intimidating. And there's just things about life that, nobody wants to be exposed to the thing that we're least good at. So that's, talking about your unique selling proposition, that's one of them. Put your people on video, make sure that they're friendly, kind, empathic, approachable, the types of things that usually muscle-bound people in the stereotypical, archetypical world aren't. And that's going to make us more accessible to be like, oh, I guess I could go there and, get yelled at by that person. That's all I got. I hope this is helpful. Comment if you have other ideas or questions. Like if you like my video. Subscribe if you want to see one every day. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow.